This is an image from a painting from the Renaissance times. And this music that you hear is music from Renaissance times. We're going to be starting to talk about a new time in history that's called medieval times or Renaissance times. And this is a painting from those times. And that's music from those times. Let me show you about Renaissance times. Let me put a stop here. This is a castle from the medieval times and Renaissance times. See, after the primitive times, people became fancier and fancier. They learned how to do things, and came a time in history that's called the medieval times or the Renaissance times. And this is the way the castles were in those times. This is the way people live in those times. You probably heard about those times. It's a time of kings and knights and princesses. Those times are called medieval or Renaissance. So let's look at a few things from medieval times. And I want you to listen to more music from medieval times. This is a castle from those times. Then, these are paintings from those times. You can see there will be a lot of wars, a lot of knights. Renaissance times. Look at these ones. They are playing some kind of horn. Kind of horn part. And let me show you how the girls were dressed. This is the way the girls dressed in those times, right? Kind of like the princesses of those times. There were a lot of kings. I just want you to understand those times. There were a lot of fighting and wars. But what happened in music? What happened in music in those times? Look at this. They started to learn how to write music. I'm going to put a stop to the music. The Renaissance times is when they started inventing how to write music. If you see there's little squares in there, those little squares were music notes. The Renaissance times, the medieval times, that's when they started learning how to write music. And let me show you another picture of music on those times. They would put the words and they would put those little squares. Let me show you. That's the beginning of music notation. That's how they started writing music. Now, the big change in music in Renaissance times is that's when they discover that if you play two sounds at the same time, it sounds really nice. If you make a melody and I make another melody at the same time, it sounds really nice. So they started making instruments and play them together. That's when they invented recorders like the ones that we have. And one person would play a little recorder, one person would play a big recorder at the same time. And they sounded beautiful. So when we play our duets for recorder and you play the soprano recorder and I play the alto recorder, we're really making music from Renaissance times because that's when they invented this. So we will talk more about Renaissance times.